All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a chronological investigation of a 5,000-year-old relic known as the Nineveh Star Tablet. It's a piece of clay that has quietly, but completely, unsettled astronomers and historians for decades. And what makes this artifact so incredible isn't just how ancient it is, but the impossibly precise astronomical data carved right into its surface. To really wrap our heads around why this little clay tablet is so intensely controversial, we have to start by asking a question that pretty much challenges everything we think we know about our past. What if human history wasn't a slow, isolated evolution, but an active, deliberate intervention? Keep that in the back of your mind as we trace the bizarre, step-by-step timeline of this tablet's discovery and the researchers who literally risked their careers trying to decode it.
So chronologically, our story begins in the winter of 1849. British archaeologist Austen Henry Layard was digging deep beneath the collapsed ruins of ancient Nineveh, which is in modern-day Iraq. His workers unearthed this fragmented clay tablet. At first glance, it just looked like countless other ancient tax records, because apparently even 5,000 years ago, absolutely nobody liked paying taxes. So it was boxed up, shipped off to the British Museum, and completely ignored for over a century.
Now officially, standard history tells us that the 5,000-year-old Sumerian civilization was brilliant, sure, but primitive. No optics, no telescopes, basically a flat heavens view of the world. But that accepted view heavily contradicts what's actually found in their records. The translated tablets demonstrate complex base 60 mathematics, a deep understanding of layered planetary depth, and the tracking of celestial bodies that are completely invisible to the naked eye. It's a glaring contradiction.
And that contradiction finally exploded in the 1970s. A small team of translators at the British Museum decided to take a closer look at our dusty little tablet, and they realized, wait a minute, this isn't a mundane tax record at all. It's a map. More specifically, a geometric map detailing exactly 47 distinct star systems. And to be clear, these weren't mythological figures. They were precise, mathematical stellar coordinates.
And here is where we hit our first huge anomaly. Beside 46 of those 47 stars, the ancient scribe carved this repeating symbol that translates directly to inhabited or occupied by life. But beside the 47th star, which mathematically matches the exact location of our own Earth, there was a completely unique symbol. It didn't mean observation, it didn't mean worship, it translated to one word: contact.
Unsurprisingly, this discovery sparked a really disturbing pattern of suppression. Every single time independent researchers started making serious headway into just how astronomically accurate this tablet was, their work was abruptly shut down. Let's walk through these events step by step so you can see exactly how this cover-up escalated over the years. Step 1 happened in 1981. A highly respected German linguist, Dr. Werner Stein, published a super controversial analysis. He argued the tablet was a genuine astronomical catalog copied from a much older source, not just symbolic mythology. He actually proved the spatial depths matched real stellar coordinates. Well, the academic backlash was swift. Within 2 years, Stein's funding vanished, his department reassigned him, and the tablet was quietly pulled from public exhibition altogether.
But despite the suppression, the investigation quietly pushed forward into the 1990s, eventually reaching a retired NASA orbital engineer named Robert Harrington in 2003. Harrington mathematically proved the 47 stars weren't just a random list. They were a highly specific sequential route. The map depicted an actual journey. Step 1, moving outward from an origin point. Step 2, traveling sequentially through 46 inhabited systems. And Step 3, terminating exactly at Earth.
Harrington ran the calculations, and they revealed that this journey began roughly 1,200 light-years away from us. The origin point was located in a distant, deep space region near the Lyra constellation, a specific place the ancient Sumerian texts actually referred to as Nibiru Antu, or the place from which the sky beings descended.
Now, what made Harrington's discovery genuinely unsettling were the little annotations carved beside certain star systems along this route. Most stars just had brief, harmless descriptions, things like Waterworld or Twin Suns, but 3 of them contained really dark warnings. For example, one entry near the constellation Ophiuchus translated to this chilling phrase: "Those who refuse the descent."
And it gets worse. Another equally disturbing phrase was found near the Cygnus constellation, simply reading, "sealed by the Council." The source material heavily suggests that the beings traveling this route, who the Sumerians called the Anunnaki, didn't just peacefully observe these worlds. These specific, step-by-step annotations imply they encountered heavy resistance or major conflicts during their long journey.
So, immediately after Harrington proves the statistical impossibility of this map being a coincidence, his research is aggressively targeted. Step by step, here's what happened in 2006. First, he presents his findings at a closed conference in Prague. Shortly after, individuals tied to government contractors literally offer to buy his research outright, but only if he signs an NDA. He refuses. 2 months later, his home is burglarized, but no valuables were taken. The only things missing were the hard drives containing his astronomical data on the tablet.
A deathbed confession. This brings us to the next massive turning point in our timeline.
In the spring of 2011, the entire narrative shifted from ancient astronomy to biological intervention. An aging archivist named Elias Volin, a guy who spent 30 years working with restricted Mesopotamian records, was on his deathbed in Berlin. He handed over a secret folder to a trusted friend. Volin's notes revealed a completely separate, personal passage on the tablet, stating the Anunnaki didn't arrive as conquering gods. They arrived as desperate refugees from a dying world, and they genetically reshaped early humans to ensure their own survival.
Volin's terrifying final words to his colleague completely reframed what this artifact actually is. The 47 stars weren't a map of future exploration. It was a historical record of a completed journey. As Volin put it, they weren't mapping where life existed. They were mapping where they had already been.
And honestly, this controversial translation attempts to explain a massive anthropological mystery. Look, on one hand, we have hundreds of thousands of years of painfully slow, primitive human evolution. On the other, we have this sudden, almost overnight explosion of complex language, agriculture, math, and astronomy. The source texts are explicitly claiming this wasn't natural adaptation at all. It was an emergency knowledge transfer by these visitors.
In fact, surviving Sumerian texts repeatedly emphasize that early humanity was considered fundamentally incomplete by these visitors. A damaged tablet recovered near Eridu literally states the beings of Earth could survive the world but not inherit knowledge. To fix this so-called flaw, the texts describe a step-by-step process of mixing essence in something called the House of Creation. And those descriptions? They conceptually mirror modern biological engineering almost perfectly.
So, why does all of this matter to us today? Well, because modern astronomy is just now catching up to this clay tablet. Right now, advanced telescopes are actually confirming the presence of statistically promising exoplanets in the exact star systems listed on this 5,000-year-old map. Furthermore, the ancient texts describe the Anunnaki as watchers, entities overseeing humanity and simply waiting for us to reach a very specific technological threshold before returning.
Which leaves us with a truly chilling final thought. The Sumerian texts contain a recurring prophecy that states, when the children of Earth learn to see the heavens again, the gate will reopen. Right now, for the first time in human history, we are finally developing the telescopic technology to see the galaxy exactly as it's described on this ancient artifact. So we really have to wonder, is this clay tablet simply a forgotten map of the past, or is it a meticulous